Hello students, welcome to AP classes and this is Abhishek, back within the video tutorial on methods part 6. In this video tutorial, we are going to discuss about pass by reference and pass by value. Basically, we are going to discuss what is pass by value and pass by reference. In terms of ICSE, you are not going to get any question from pass by reference. Maximum you can be asked that what is pass by reference, what is the definition of pass by reference, how a pass by reference is different from pass by value. They are going to give you questions, or they are going to give you a difference between pass by reference and pass by value. But you are never going to ask to write a program based on pass by reference. Although pass by reference program is not necessary for ICSE examination, still I will show you with an example that how a program can be done with pass by reference and a program can be done with pass by value. So a lot to know, a lot to discuss, but before that please subscribe my channel and like the video. This is one of the example of pass by value. Here you can see we have a method, we have a class that is pass. Within that class pass, we have three methods. One is main method, another one is input method, and the third one is print method. And we know that the execution will start from main method, or you can say that a program execution will always start from main method. Although it is not necessary in BlueJ to start a program execution from main method, still if we look to other IDEs, then we always have to start an execution from main method. Here we have three methods, member methods. One is main method, another one is input method, and the third one is print method, and one data member we have. So here we have our data member, that is A. Data member what we have here, that is A. Now when the program execution will start from main method, here you can see an object is created, and with the help of that object we are going to call input method. With help of that object we are going to call input method. And why we will call input method, the reason is, with an object why we will call input method, the reason is as here you can see this is static and an input method is non-static. So to call input method, to invoke input method, you need to take help of an object, because no static keyword is used here. So when no static keyword is used in front of input method, we have to take help of an object. Once you take help of an object to call input method, my control will come from this place. Here you can see the place which I have highlighted. From this place my control will come to input method, right? Now when my control comes from this place to input method, it do not bring any value from here. You can see that here we don't have any argument, neither we have here any parameter. So we do not come with any value, or we do not come with any argument from this place. You can say that function calling place, or the place from where function invoking is done. We do not come with any value, we do not come with any argument from function calling part to this place function header part. This is called as function header, or you can say function prototype. We do not come with any value. Okay, so here no value is passed. Passed means sent. No value is passed from this place to this place. Now once you come to input method, an object is created for scanner class. Then you will be asked to enter a value. Once you enter a value to A, here you can see once you enter a value to A, then you will move to print method, or you are going to call print method. Now again you can ask me a question, sir, why don't you call a print method with an object here? Because even here no static keyword is mentioned, so we must call this print method with an object. Well, even if you call this method with an object, it will work. If you don't call this method with an object, it will work. The reason I will tell you, because already you are calling input method. Here you can see already you are calling input method with an object OB. That means OB, with the help of OB you are calling input method. Input method is called with an object, that is OB. So here OB is already activated. This place OB is already activated. Whatever work is done here, it is done with a reference or by taking the help of OB. So here whenever you write A, automatically it is considered that you are using A with the help of an OB, although you are not writing OB. But as you have called input method with an object OB, so automatically it is understood that whatever is done here, It is done with with the help of an object. Here you can think like this. Here we have written static, so whatever is done here, you don't need help of an object to do these things, right? So when you call this method input, you call with an object that is ob. So when the things are done under this method, it takes the help of ob. Now a cannot be called with directly from this place. Okay, we need to take help of an object. But why don't we write an object here? Because already input is called with an object that is ob. So automatically a will take the help of same object. Now if you create some other object like ob1, here you can write ob1 dot a, it will work. Okay, it will work absolutely fine. There is no, you will not find any difference here. Well, we are not going to take help of any other object. Reason is already we are taking help of ob to call input method. So when you input a value to a, that is here you can see data member, when you enter a value to a, automatically it will take help of ob to store the value whatever is inputted by the user. So here let us assume a user enters 14 to a value 14, hypothetically speaking, a value 14 is stored to a. Once a value 15 is stored to a, then you are going to pass it to print method. So here you can see that we have a method print. Here you are going to pass a value. Here we are going to pass a value. How you will pass a value? Here we have here you can see a is stored. When you write here a, students, here you can notice that this is called as actual argument. So when you write here an actual argument, that is called as a value is passed, right? Here you are passing a value. Please make sure this is the place where you are going to differentiate between a pass by value and pass by reference. We have to make one thing very clear, that in pass by value, a value is passed, right? When you write a, what is stored in a? 14. That means we are passing 14. So here value of x will be how much? Value of x will be 14. So from this place, when you move on to this method, here you can see from this place, when you move on to this method, now here value of x will become 14. Whatever you pass from this place, whatever you pass, whether you pass right here 14, you write here 1000, you write here 2 lakh, whatever you pass it from here, the same value will get stored to this place. Here you can store the same value. Now do not pass a double value from here. The reason is here we are writing int x, so data type of x is int, so you need to pass an integer value. Okay, or here you can have a big data type, and here you can have a small data type or value, you can say. So a small data type value can be stored to a big data type value, that will work, but a big data type value cannot be stored without typecasting to a small data type variable. Now here a value is passed from method print method. Here you can see a value is passed. Here you can notice that a value is passed to print method, and print method store that values. Print method stores that value. Please remember students, a value is passed here. I'm trying to tell you that please put a focus on here, this highlighted place. Here we are passing a value, here we are receiving a value. But in terms of pass by reference, instead of passing a value, we will pass a reference, we will pass an object here. Okay, right now we are passing a value, here we are passing a value, and here you can see that we are storing that value here. Okay, our value is stored here. Now when a value is stored here, okay, now you can see that the same here 14 is stored to a and 14 is stored to x. Now let us assume one thing, that we are going to change the value of x, right? Now x has been made 100. Now when you change the value of x and you print it here, okay, you print it here, we are going to print the value of x here. When you print the value of x here, what will get printed? It will print 100, because initially value of x was 14, but now it is changed to 100, so it will print 100 here. Finally you will get an output, that is a value within print method, that is 100. When you will come to an end of print method, with the help of this curly braces, you will come to know that we have come to an end of this print method, and you will return back to the same place without returning anything. So we are going to return empty hand. Control is going to return back to the same place without taking any value, because no return statement is written here and no return type is here. So we are not going to return any value from here. We'll return back to the same place. Then we will come to the next line and we will print the value within here. You can see that it will print value within input method is equals to a. And what is the value of a here? Value of a is 14. So one thing is very clear, that whatever value you have within a method, please note this, whatever value you have within input method, when you pass that value to print method, right, and you made any change to that value, it is not going to reflect in the input method. What do you mean by it is not going to reflect in input method? The meaning is, here value of a is 14. Initially you can see that value of a is 14. Highlighted area you can see value of a is 14. Then we made it and then we passed it to x. Now x is having 14. After that the value of x is changed to 100. Please note that value of x is changed to 100, but value of a is still 14, right? So value within print method, it will print when you will print the value of x, it will print the value of x, that is 100. So first 100 will get printed, then you will return to the same place, and when you return to the same place, then you are going to print the value of a. What is the value of a? That is 14. There is no change in the, here you can see there is no change in this value, right? So you are going to pass an actual argument, you are going to pass an actual argument to formal parameter. This is called as formal parameter, x is called as formal parameter. When you pass an actual argument, it gets stored in formal parameter, right? So this is called as formal parameter. Formal parameter is receiving a value from actual argument, and when you make any change to formal parameter, this is x is formal parameter. Here you can say what is the value of formal parameter, that is 14, and when you change the formal parameter to 100, actual parameter will not change. Here you can see what is the actual parameter, that is a, it will not change. So any change made to formal parameter will not put any impact on actual parameter, because here formal parameter is different and actual parameter is considered as different. So when you make any change here, okay, any change to formal parameter will not change actual argument. Here you can see any change to formal parameter. When we make any change to formal parameter, what is the formal parameter? X. Although we are changing the value of x to 100, but the value of a will remain 14. So any change made to formal parameter will not change actual parameter. So here we can notice that in pass by value, this is the example of pass by value. A value is passed from actual parameter to formal parameter. The first point is a value is passed from actual parameter to formal parameter. Second thing is that any change made to formal parameter will not change actual parameter. Now let's execute this program. Now we'll execute it. Here we can do one thing. We'll click on main method. When you click on main method, you will be asked to enter a value, because from main method we are going to input method. Within input method, a scanner class object is created. Then we are asked to enter a value, and whatever value we will enter here, whatever value we will enter, it will get stored to which variable? Just remember, just try to recall which variable this 14 is going to get stored, that is a. Once it is stored to a, then we are passing it to which method? Print method, right? And in print method it is getting stored to a variable, that is x. Here you can see that value within print method, that is 100, and value within input method, that is 14, because initially 14 is passed to print method, then it gets stored in a variable, that is x, then finally x value is changed to 100, so it is printing the value of x, that is 100, and when you return to input method, a value is printed, that is 14. This is called as, here you can see that this is called as pass by value. Let's once again go with the definition. In pass by value, a value is passed from actual parameter to formal parameter. a value is passed, right? Uh, Here you can see a value is passed from actual parameter to formal parameter. But what is stored to that variable? A value is stored to that variable. So indirectly you are passing a value from actual parameter to formal parameter. So in pass by value, a value is passed from actual argument to formal parameter. Now, whenever you make any change to formal parameter, right? You make any change to formal parameter, it will not reflect in, or it will not change the actual argument. Okay. Now don't say that, sir, any change made to actual parameter will not change a formal parameter. Obviously it will change formal parameter, because here you are storing 4. Now 14. Now if you store, instead of 14, if you store 100 here, if you store, let us assume 500 here, right? So again formal parameter will change to 500. Now if you store here 1000, so when you will pass 1000, formal parameter will store 1000. So here we are not discussing that whether any change made to actual parameter will change formal parameter. This is very obvious that a value from actual parameter is passed to formal parameter. So whatever value is there in actual parameter, the same value will get stored in formal parameter. This is very obvious. But any change made to formal parameter, whenever you are making any change to formal parameter, this will not make any change or will not put any impact on the actual argument. Here you can see that we have an actual argument, that is a no changes will be done. Now let's go back, or let's go to the pass by reference and see how the things are done. This is the example of pass by reference. Now let's put a very keen look to this, how the program is done. Here once again, before starting the program, I am making one thing very clear. Student, please remember, you are never going to asked with a question that write a program based on pass by reference. This is only for your knowledge. I am showing you the example. But if it is quite difficult for you, if you don't understand this program, do not panic or do not get confused. You are never going to be asked with a question that write a program based on pass by reference, right? So even if it is not clear to you, do not panic, don't get confused, don't ask any question from this. Okay, what is pass by reference and all? You can just skip this program. You can just skip on this program. It is not at all required. You just have to focus on pass by value. Whatever program we will do in class 10, or when you do a program in class 9, all the programs are done or based on pass by value. You are not going to do a single program where you will be asked to write a program based on pass by reference. Well, if you take computer in class 11 and 12, then you are going to write a program based on pass by reference, and that time again we are going to discuss that what is pass by value and pass by reference. And as you must have done more than 10, 20 or 15 programs based on pass by value, so the concepts will be quite clear to you, the logic will be quite clear to you, and then you can move on to pass by reference. So initially pass by reference will be might be quite confusing for you. So if you are in class 9 or you are in class 10, do not get confused, because you are never going to be asked with a question to write a program based on pass by reference. This I am only showing you so that you can make a difference between what is pass by value and what is pass by reference. You can see that we have a class that is pass. Here we have int a. We have created an object ob. Look here very clearly, you look here, we have created an object ob. We are going to call input method with an object ob here. So input method is called with an object ob, right? Then once you have called input method with an object ob, you will come to input method. You are going to create an object for scanner class. Then again we have created an object that is ob1. Here you can see that already input method is called with an object ob, but once again we are going to create an object ob1, obj1. This is required for a pass by reference. I will show you how the pass by reference is going to work. So now you can ask me, sir, even if we don't create an object ob1, still the program can be executed. Yes, the program can be executed, but it will be difficult for you, or you can say that we cannot implement the concept of pass by reference. To implement the concept of pass by reference, I need to create an object ob1. So I want to show you a diagram by which things can be clear to you. We have a variable a here, right? We have a variable a here. Now variable a is non-static method, isn't it? It is non-static. Non-static means, what is non-static? Non-static means you need an object to access this method, right? You need an object to access this method. Presently we have two objects. One is ob object. With the help of ob object we can access a, and another one is, you can see that we have obj1 object. With the help of obj1 object also you can access a method, a data member, right? So here it is quite clear that as many objects you will have, with the help of those objects you will be able to access data member, or you can say that you will be able to access the variable here, that is a. So a can be accessed by ob object, as well as a can be accessed by obj1 object, right? With the help of ob object you can access a, with the help of obj1 object you can access a. Now if you do not write anything here, right, if you do not write anything here, it will be considered that as input method is called with an object ob. Here you can see as input method is called with an object ob, so automatically it will take the help of ob object to store a value to a. But when you write obj1, that means that it is taking help of obj1. Here you can see we have obj1 object here. It is taking help of obj1 to store a value. So here ob object, you can see that in this program ob object is used to call input method, and once it is going to call input method, you are into that input method, then you are again going to take help of another object to store a value to a. So here obj1 object, you are going to take help of obj1 object to store a value to a variable. Now when you store a value to a variable, it is stored with an object, or it is stored with the help of an object, that is obj1, because here obj1 is written. So even if you enter 10 here, even if you enter 10 here, so that 10 will get stored to a with the help of obj1. You are not going to take help of ob object, right? Now if I remove this obj1 from here, now you can say that as input method is taking help of ob object, so obviously it is getting stored with the help of ob object, right? So here you can see that it is getting stored with the help of ob object, but right now we don't have any object here, so it is taking help of ob object. But we have to take help of another object, because I need to show you the example, or I need to show you the working example of pass by reference. So here obj1, the object which we declared here, that object example we are going to check, and we are going to store here a will store 10, but with the help of obj1 object. Let's look to this. So a will store 10, but with the help of obj1 object. Now a has not stored anything with the help of ob object. Remember, a has not stored anything with the help of ob object. It has stored 10 with the help of obj1 object. Here you can see that this is called as actual argument, and this is called as formal parameter. Instead of passing a value that is a, look here, instead of passing a value that is a, okay, when you write a here, that means you are passing a value, okay. Instead of passing a value that is a, what we are doing is we are passing an object here, right? We are passing an object, or you can say that we are passing an object or reference. We are passing an object, or you can say we are passing an object, okay. Now when you pass an object, now you tell me, this object holds what? It holds the value of a. Here you can see that this object holds what? It holds the value of a, right? When you pass this object, right, look to this very carefully, when you pass this object will be passed and it will get stored here. Now if you are passing an object, here you need to store an object, so you can never write here, you can never write int x, you can never write like this. The reason is int x will hold a value, but from this place you are passing an object. You need to store an object here. So how can you create an object? Pass obj2 you can write. Now you can again ask me here, sir, do we need to write a new keyword here? No, you do not have to write new keyword. The reason is already a space is allocated to obj1 object. So whatever you will pass from here, the same value and the same space will get copied to obj2. We write new to allocate a space, but here no allocation is required. The reason is already an object is created here obj1, and you are copying that object 1 obj1 to obj2. Here you can see obj1 is copied to obj2. So if it is taking, for example, 2 KB of space, obj2 will take 2 KB of space. If it is taking 3 KB of space, it will take 3 KB of space. Now if obj1 is having one variable, that is a, then obj2 will also point to that variable, same variable, that is a. Here you can say that obj1, whatever is the value of obj1, same value will be for obj2. We can refer like this. Here you can see obj1 is there. We will have another object obj2 which will point to the same object, or which will point to the same variable, you can say. So whatever is the value of obj1, the same value will be for obj2. Okay, because obj1 and obj2 both are copied. Now let me once again show you this one. We have a variable a. ob is an object which is pointing to a, right? ob1 is another object which is pointing to a. Now for ob1 we have a value 10. Now ob1 we have another variable, that is ob2. Okay, but how this ob2 is created, or how you are going to store this value to how this ob2 is storing the value? Just the value of obj1, I'm sorry, it's not ob, it's obj. Now obj1 value is copied to obj2, right? So if for obj1 the value of a is 10, for obj2 the value of a will be 10, right? So here whatever is there in obj1, everything will get copied to obj2. You can see that for obj2 also, here you can see that for obj1 value of a is 10, and for obj2 the value of a will be how much? It will be 10. Okay, now you are making a change. Look to this place very carefully. Now you are changing the value of a to 100, right? Now a will become 100, isn't it? If you are changing the value of a to 100, that means a will be changed to 100. Okay, but how the a is changed? By what? Look, this a will take help of obj2. The reason is, here this method, you can see that here this method is taking help. Here obj2 you are writing. Okay, please look to this very carefully, students. When you write print here, okay, print obj1 you are writing, that means you are passing an object here. An object is passed, obj1 is passed from this place to this place. That means obj2 dot a equals to 100. Now if you are making any change to a, that means obj2 dot a will become 100. And if obj2 dot a will become 100, that means it will also change the value of obj1, because obj1 both are related. You can see that obj1 and obj2 both are related here. So if you are making any change in this object, right, in this reference, if you are making any change, if you are making any change to this object, that means the same change will reflect here. Now you can see that when you are writing a equals to 100, that means indirectly you are writing obj2 dot a equals to 100. Now when you are writing obj2 dot a equals to 100, here it will print the value, that is 100. And when you return back from this place to the same place and you print the value of a, you can see that already for obj2 the value of a has become 100. Similarly for obj1 also, here please remember, for obj1 also the value of a will become 100. Okay, so any change you make to formal parameter, here you can say any change you make to formal parameter will change the actual parameter. And why it is changing the actual parameter? The reason is, here value is not passed, rather an object is passed, rather an reference is passed here. So when you pass a reference, when you pass an object, that reference or that object gets stored to another object, or another reference. So when you make change to that reference, another reference, here you can see that obj1 is one object, obj2 is another object. When value of obj1, when obj1 is copied to obj2, now if you make any change to obj2, remember, now if you make any change to obj2, the same change can be seen in obj1. So here you can say changes made to formal parameter will change actual argument. Here you can see that changes made to formal parameter, any change made to formal parameter will change actual argument. So when you make any change to formal parameter, when you change the value of formal parameter, you can see that the value of actual argument will also change. So here a is made to 100 for obj2. So by default, automatically for obj1 also a will become 100. Now here when you print the value of a, 100 will get printed, and here when you print the value of a, again it will print 100. Although you did not change the value of a to 100 here, you did not change the value of a to 100 here, but still as you are making change to the formal parameter, it will make change to the actual argument. You can compile this program and we can execute this main method. We'll enter a value, let us enter 10, but it will print 100 in both the cases. In print method also it is printing 100, in input method also it is printing 100, because the original value gets changed, right? The original value gets changed. Now you must be having a doubt that, sir, is here we have a single variable. So okay, it is right, correct. Now if we have two variables here, again remember it is going to work similarly for both the variables, right? Here you have a variable a, another variable b. Let us assume we are going to enter two values here. Enter two values, obj1.a. For obj1.a we are going to enter a value. Then for obj1.b we will enter another value. Now when you pass a value from here, you can see that when you are passing obj1 from here, that means you are copying. For obj1, a will hold some value and b will hold some value, right? For obj1, a will hold some value and b will hold some value. That obj1 is copied to obj2. That means for obj2 also, a will have same value and b will have same value. So if for obj1 you are storing 10 to a, if you have stored 10 to a and you stored 20 to b, that means here a will have 10 and b will have 20. For obj2, value of a will be 10, value of b will be 20, because you are copying an object. Now if we change the value of a to 100 and we change the value of b to 200, and here when you print the value of a and you will print the value of b here, let's print the value of b, okay, it will print 100 and 200. Now again when you go back to the same method, that is input method, and you print the value of a and you print the value of b, that means again it will print 100 and 200 here, because any change made to formal parameter will put an impact or will change the actual argument. Let's compile this and execute this program. Now we are going to enter 10 and we are going to enter 20. Here you can see that in print method is printing 100, 100, 100, 200, and in input method it's printing 100 and 200 once again. So any change made to formal parameter will put an impact on actual argument. So this is the basic difference between pass by value and pass by reference. So in pass by value, what we learned is, on pass by value, a value is passed instead of this reference, a value is passed from an actual argument to formal parameter. But in pass by reference, an object is passed from an actual argument to formal parameter. Any change made to, in pass by value, any change made to formal parameter will not put an impact on or will not change the value of actual argument, right? In pass by reference, any change made to formal parameter will put an impact or will change the value of the actual argument. So this is the basic difference between a pass by value and pass by reference. Now let us go back to the definition part. Look to this definition here, pass by value. What is pass by value? In pass by value mechanism, method pass the value provided by the caller. So it is one of the mechanism where value is passed, okay, from caller method to called method. Therefore changes made to the formal parameter of the method have no effect on original value. So here you can see in pass by value, or a pass by value is a mechanism where a method pass a value from actual argument to formal parameter, or a caller method pass a value to called method, you know, which is called as caller method and which is called as called method, right? So a caller method pass a value to called method, and when the pass value is passed from caller method to called method, any change you make to formal parameter, will not put any impact on actual argument, or you can say will not change the original value. But in pass by reference, what happens? It is a mechanism where the location of the variable, that is an object, is passed. You can say an object is passed from one method to another method, from caller method to called method, an object is passed. So any change made to formal parameter will affect the actual argument. So any change you make to formal parameter, it will change the actual argument. So I hope this part is quite clear to you, what is pass by value and what is pass by reference. Once again, I'm telling you, you are not going to get any question from pass by reference. Maximum a question will be asked, what is pass by reference? How can you differentiate between pass by value and pass by reference? When you can write a program with pass by reference, when it is helpful to you? What are the disadvantage of having a program or writing a program with pass by reference? This can be few questions which can be asked to you, but you are never going to be asked to write a program based on pass by reference. So even if the pass by reference program is not clear to you, if you still have few doubts with pass by reference, do not worry, leave that part and just do a program using pass by value. That's all. Now next one is types of function. We have two types of function. One is pure function, another one is impure function. Pure function is also called as accessor, and impure function is called as mutator method, right? Pure function or pure method is called as accessor method, and impure function or method is called as mutator method. Okay, so here we are going to discuss what is pure function and what is impure function. Many a times a question has come, what is the difference between pure function, what is the difference between impure function? Give an example of pure function, give an example of impure function. Okay, so basically here we are going to discuss about pure function and impure function. Let's move to the pure function here, or accessor method. What is pure function? It's very simple. A function which returns a value to its caller module is called as pure function. So a method which will return a value, that is called as pure function. When you see a method is returning something, that is called as pure function, right? You can look to this diagram that we have a pure function here, right? You have written a class, or a class is written. You are going to call a method, okay? You are going to call a method, and this method is going to return some value to the called method. So this is called as called method, okay? And this is, here you can see that a function is called, a method is called from here, right? And when a method is called from here, you are going to move to that method, okay? This is method 1, let us assume, and this is method 2. This orange part is method 1 and this violet part is method 2. So here we are going to move from method 1 to method 2, and you will return some value after doing calculation or whatever it is. You are going to return some value. You are going to return some value to caller method, right? So this is called as caller method and this is called as called method. So from this place you will return some value to caller method, or to the method from where you have come. This is called as pure function, or this is called as accessor method. Accessor method is the method which returns a value to the caller module, or from where it has come, it returns a value, right? You can look to this example here. We have a main method, okay? We have called here, we have called calc method, and we have passed a and b both. This is the example of call by value. The reason is we are passing the value of a and b. Now let us assume that value of A is 10 and value of B is 20, right? So when you call a method calc, you will move from this place to calc method, and the value of here, A value will get stored here, B value will get stored here. You can take same variable here, A and B can be taken here, A and B can be taken here. And why the same variable can be taken? Because this is local variable and here this is local variable, so they do not they do not coincide with each other. So they will, this part will only work for this method and this part will only work for this method. So here value of A will get stored here, and here value of B will get stored here. That is, again you will have 10 and 20 here, and you can see that after adding this 10 plus 20, that is 30, you are returning a value to the caller method. You are returning value something here. You are returning, what you are returning? 30 you are returning. So 30 is getting stored to C. What will be the value of C? Value of C will become 30, and here you can print the value of C, that is 30. So here a method, you can see that when a method call is done, it's returning something. As it is returning something, this program or this method is an example of pure function, or this program is an example of pure function, right? Now in impure function, you can understand that if it is returning something, that is called as pure function, and when a method do not return anything, it is called as impure function. So a method will be called here. But no value will be returned. No value will be returned. That is called as impure function or mutator method. You can see that here we have, this is one of the diagram of impure function. A class, we are going to make a class. Inside that class we have two methods. You are doing a method call here, but when you are not returning anything. So this is one of the example of the impure function or impure method. So a function which do not return a value to its caller module, that is called as impure function, right? So if it is not returning any value, means it will be returned with void. Here the return type is void. In the previous example, the return type can be anything other than void, because it is returning a value, but here it is not returning anything, so it will be void. This is the example of impure method. You can see that we have a method here, that is main method. Let's assume once again value of A is 10, value of B is 20. You are returning here you can say that you are calling a method that is calc. When you call a method calc, the control will come to this place. Value will get stored here 10 and value will get stored here, that is 20. Now you are printing the value of A and B, that is 10 and 20, and when you return to the same place, when you return to the same method, okay, you do not take anything, you do not return anything. And why are you not returning anything? Because void data type is written here, the return type is void, so you are not returning anything. This is the example of impure function. So if a question is asked, what is the difference between a pure method and impure method, you can write that a pure method returns a value to its caller module, whereas a impure method do not returns any value to its caller module. First, a pure method will always have a return type other than void, but an impure method will always have a return type that is void. With this, we come to an end of this part 6 video. In the upcoming videos, we are going to discuss about method overloading, what is constructor. But till then, stay tuned with me. God bless you all.